Hello and welcome to this exploring session, the second half of a look at Jacob and Esau, a play from middle of the pretty much smack bang in the middle of the 16th century, somewhere around 1550, reasonable estimate somewhere around 1553-ish, though opinions do vary. It's sometimes quite difficult to date some of these middle Tudor interludes. Story so far, it's been a positive catalogue of errors for the elder son of Isaac, Esau, who, due to his own profligacy, has ended up very, very hungry. And I should just say, for cat lovers at home, dog lovers, or any other animals that you might be fond of, just hold them tight and safe, because there's Esau will eat them if he gets hungry enough, and so the younger son, Jacob, is thanks to the manoeuvring of his mother, is moving in the general direction of ascendancy in the family lineup, and that is where we reach the play here as we go into Act 3. I don't know if it's a fair summary or not, who knows. To guide us through this second half of the play, we have assembled this fabulous team. So reading the part of Rebecca and the epilogue, the poet at the end, is...
Hello, my name is Lynsey Beauchamp and I'm a professional actor and currently self-isolating in lovely Norfolk.
And reading today, Esau and Jacob. So reading both sides of the the narrative, as it were, but they're almost never on stage at the same time. Almost never on stage. Is
I am Gregory, and I'm from Berkshire.
And reading the part of the servant Ragan and Deborah is
Liza Graham, actor, singer, and Renaissance text coach, 2 actors in London.
And reading the part of Isaac and Abra is
Steve Longstaffe, scholar of early modern drama, based in Lancaster, in the UK.
And I am your host, Robert Crighton, and I will be reading today Mido, the young boy who leads the blind Isaac around. So much comedy business available there. He said, I will also occasionally step in with stage directions, though I may pass those on to other people in the event my character says a lot of words. But maybe he does not. Top of Act 3, first scene, will feature at some point Esau, Isaac, and Mido, and Esau is the first person to speak.
Now, since I last saw mine old father Isaac, both I do think it long, and he will judge me slack. But he cometh forth. I will here listen and see whether he shall chance to speak any word of me.
And Esau steps aside.
Lead me forth, Mido, to the bench on this hand, that I may sit me down, for I cannot long stand.
Here, sir, this same way, and ye be at the bench now, where ye may sit down in God's name, if please you.
I marvel where Esau my son doth become, that he doth now of days visit me so seldom. For it's oft seen, whom fathers do best favour, of them they have least love again for their labour. I think since I saw him it is a whole week. In faith, little Mido, I would thou wouldst him seek.
Oh, forsooth, Master Isaac, and I knew it where. It should not be very long ere I would be there. But shall I at adventure go seek where he is?
Seek no further, Mido. Already here he is.
Methinketh I have Esau his voice perceived.
Yea, truly, father, ye are not deceived.
Here he is come now invisible, by my soul, for I saw him not till he spake hard by my pole.
Now, go thou in, Mido, let us two here alone.
Sir, if ye command me, full quickly, I am gone.
Yet, and if I call thee, see thou be not slack.
I come at the first call, good Master Isaac.
Son Esau.
Here, father.
Is none here but we?
None to hearken our talk, father, that I do see.
And Rebecca entereth behind unseen and listens.
Son Esau, why hast thou been from me so long?
I cry you mercy, father, if I have done wrong, but I am both to trouble you, having nothing to present you withal, nor venison to bring.
Son Esau, thou knowest that I do thee love,
I thank you for it, father, as doth me behove.
and now thou seest my days draw towards an end.
That is to me great ruth, if I could it amend.
I must go the way of all mortal flesh. Therefore, while my memory and wit is yet fresh, I would thee endow mine heritage to succeed, and bless thee as I ought to multiply my seed. The God of my father Abraham and of me hath promised that our seed as the sand shall be. He is a God of truth, and in his words just. Therefore, in my working shall be no fault, I trust. Now, therefore, son Esau, get thee forth to hunt with thy bow and quiver, as erst thou hast been wont, and bring me of thy venison that is good.
Ye shall have it of the best that runneth in the wood.
And when thou comest home, to dress it shall behove, and to make for mine own tooth such meat as I love. Thus do mine, O dear son, and then I shall thee kiss with the kiss of peace, and thee forever bless.
Your will to accomplish most dear father Isaac, with all good haste and speed I shall not be found slack.
And then help lead me home in my tent that I was set, and then go when thou wilt.
I shall without and let.
And they exit. Rebecca is left alone on stage as we go into scene 2.
This talk of Isaac in secret have I heard, and what end it should come to my heart is afeard. Ne'er had I so much ado to forbear to speak, but the Lord I trust will Isaac's purpose break.
Here she kneeleth down and prayeth.
O God of Abraham, make it of none effect. Let Jacob have the blessing, whom thou hast elect. I, for my part, shall work what may be wrought, that it may to Jacob from Esau be brought. And in will I go to see what I can devise, that Isaac's intent may fail in any wise.
And she exits. We go into scene 3, and here comes in Ragan, coming forth with his hunting staff and other things, and a bag of victuals.
Nay, we must on hunting go once more again, and never come home now except we speed certain. But I trow, for hunger I have provided here, that whatever befall, I, Ragan, shall have cheer. But I have no time to tell what delicates here be, but think this to be true they're fit for better men than me. And what? Shall Esau thereof have any part? Nay, I trust to convey it by such pretty art that till the bag be clear he shall it never see. I shall, and if he faint, feed him as he fed me. I shall requite his shutting me out of the door, that if he bid me run to get him meat afore, I shall run as fast as my feet were made of lead, and tell him there is none, though I may well be sped. I will be even with him for my fair last day when he was with Jacob.
And Esau enters suddenly behind him.
What is it that thou dost say?
Sir, on your behalf I earnestly wish and pray that, if like need chance, ye may fare as last day when ye were with Jacob.
Well, come on, let us go.
Even when you will, is there let in me or no?
And they exit. And technically, that's the end of Act 3.
Really?
brief scene that was. I think we can take some of the spacings of acts to be somewhat meaningless at times. We've got Ragan coming back on and saying he's going to get back at his dastardly master. Bit more setting up of further plot stuff. Rebecca coming in doing a bit of kneeling. She's done a fair amount of that, I think, in this play. She's done certainly a lot of calling on God. yeah, that little fatherly sonly chat there with Isaac and Esau. Any just sort of little thoughts trying to get back into the zone of where we were yesterday, with where we finished all the big comedy business and there was a song, and then we're into this sort of mood. Any thoughts springing out at anyone? Tumbleweed parties.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously I wasn't here for the afternoon session, but I thought Isaac was going to go in quite a different direction when he says, I would thee endow mine heritage to succeed and bless thee as I ought to multiply my seed. And then he tells him to go hunt some venison. I thought he was going to go in a completely different direction there.
Mm.
Yeah, it clunks a bit, doesn't it? We're kind of set up for some kind of, inheritance being passed over or something like that, and then he goes, "No, just now go along their way."
Yeah, he says therefore, and it connects with what he said, like it's a fair compli of where the speech was going. Liza.
Well, the heritage and the blessing are the things that the audience would automatically know about, because they'd have heard all about it in church, or they'd have studied it when they were children. And so you have to sort of refer to it, but there has to be a reason why it can't happen yet, because if it happens now, the play is pretty much over.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it is one of those, I'm going to do this, but not yet. Why don't you go hunting and leave room for some more plot?
Yes, it's like they've just, the dramatists have decided we need to get him out of the way for a bit while we get the rest of our, things in a row.
But there's a little sort of drama Easter egg, isn't there? Because he goes, "Is there nobody here?" And no, we're all alone. And then somebody comes in, so it looks like something is happening and moving along.
Yes, because of course Rebecca, in a sense, the scene is as much about Rebecca overhearing what they're saying as it is about anything else that they are saying. Yeah. Okay, I don't think we need to. It's a brief little act. Let us move into Act 4, first scene, and this scene with Rebecca and Jacob. I suspect some plotting may occur.
Son Jacob, even now is come the very hour that if thou have any grace or heart or power to play thy part well and stick unto it throughout, Esau his blessing will be thine without doubt.
Mother, I know your goodwill to be unfeigned, but I see not which way the thing may be attained.
I have it contrived how all things shall be done. Do thou as I shall bid thee, and it will be won.
Mother, in me shall no fault in me shall be no fault or negligence.
Then hearken very well unto this my sentence. I heard old Isaac in a long solemn talk bid thy brother Esau to the field to walk, and there with his bow to kill him some venison, which, brought and dressed, he is to have his benison. For I am aged, said Isaac truly, and would bless thee, dear son, before that I die. Now is Esau gone to do it even so, but while he is away, I would have thee to go abroad unto the flock, and fetch me kids twain, of which I shall with a trice make such meat certain, as shall say, come, eat me, and shall make old Isaac lick his lips thereat, so toothsome shall it smack. I shall make him thereof such as he doth love, which in thy brother's stead to bless thee shall him move.
Oh, sweet and dear mother, this device is but vain, for Esau is rough, and I am smooth, certain. And so, when I shall to my father bring this meat, perchance he will feel me before that he will eat. Old men be mistrustful, he shall the matter take, that I went about my father a fool to make. Mother, By such a prank the matter will be worse, and I, instead of blessing, shall purchase me his curse.
On me be thy curse, my son, let it light on me. Only fetch thou the kids hither, as I bid thee. Do thou thy true devoir, and let God work therein.
Upon your word, mother, I will the thing begin. Send me little Mido to help me bear a kid.
He shall come by and by, for so I shall him bid. Now, Lord, and if thou please that this thing shall take place, further this our enterprise, helping with thy grace.
And exit Rebecca, and Mido indeed comes on. Are ye here, Master Jacob? I came you to look, and here Dame Rebecca have sent you your sheep cook, and have commanded me to wait on you this day, but wherefore or why she would nothing to me say.
Come on then, follow me, Mido, a little ways.
Whither ye shall lead me, I am at all a says.
And art thou able to bear a kid on thy back?
I am able, I trow, to bear a quarter sack. How say you to this corpse? Is it not fat and round? How say ye to these legs? Come they not to the ground? And be not here arms, able your matter to speed? Be not here likely shoulders to do such a deed? Therefore come, Master Jacob, if this your doubt be, for bringing home of kids, lay the biggest on me, so that if we make a feast, I may have some part.
Yes, shalt thou, Mido, right worthy thou art.
And it seems here that they exit as we go into the next scene, scene 3, with Rebecca and Abra.
I come to see if Jacob be gone afield yet. A little slacking may all our purpose let. But now that he is gone, he will be here at once. Therefore I will call my maid Abra for the nonce, that all thing within may be in a readiness. Abra, where be ye? Abra?
Here within, mistress.
Come forth. When? Abra? What, Abra, I say?
Anon.
Must I call so oft? Why come ye not by and by?
I was washing my vessel, forsooth, mistress, I.
And in very deed, look that all your vessels be clean.
There is not one foul piece in all our tent, I ween.
Then make a great fire and make ready your pot, and see there be plenty of water, cold and hot, and see the spit be scoured as clean as any pearl.
If this be not quickly done, call me naughty girl.
Nay, soft, whither away? I have not yet all done.
I thought you would have me as quick to be gone, as when ye call Abra, ye would have me to come.
Then see ye have made ready cloves, mace, and cinnamon, pepper and saffron, then fet herbs for the pot.
We will have the best that by me can be got.
And let no foul corner be about all the tent.
If you find any fault, hardly let me be shent. Is there anything else that I may go now?
Naught but that. When I come, I find no fault in you.
No, I warrant you, I will not let my master sleep.
Any
Matters.
good wench will at her dame's bidding take keep. Now, God of Abraham, as I trust in thy grace, send Jacob the blessing in Esau his place. As thou hast ordained, right so must all thing be. Perform thine own words, Lord, which thou spakest to me. Now will I go in to see, that mine old husband may of my secret working nothing understand, or in case he smell what we have thus far begun, he may think it all for Esau to be done.
So Rebecca exits here, Abra having exited a little earlier, now re-enters as we go into scene 4, Abra on stage alone.
He that were now within should find all thing, I ween, as trim as a trencher, as trick, as sweet, as clean. And seeing that my dame prepareth such a feast, I will not, I trow, be found such a sluttish beast, that there shall be any filth about our tent be kept, but that both within and without it shall be swept.
Then let her sweep with a broom, and while she doth it, sing this song. And when she have sung, let her that say what follows.
It hath been a proverb before I was born, young doth it prick, that will be a thorn. Who will be evil and who will be good, who given to truth or who to falsehood? Each body's youth showeth a great likelihood. For young doth it prick, that will be a thorn. Whoso in youth will no goodness embrace, but follow pleasure and not virtue's trace, great marvel it is, if such come to grace. For young doth it prick, that will be a thorn. Such as in youth will refuse to be taught, or will be slack to work as he ought, when they come to age, their proof will be naught. For young doth it prick, that will be a thorn. If a child being given to any vice, except he be guided by such as be wise, he will thereof all his life have a spice. For young doth it prick, that will be a thorn. It hath been a proverb, etc. Now have I done, and as it should be for the nonce, my sweeping and my song are ended both at once. Now, but for fetting mine herbs, I might go play. Deborah, nurse Deborah, a word with you, I pray.
And enter Deborah.
What is the matter? Who calleth me Deborah?
Forsooth, gentle nurse, even I, little Abra. I pray you, sweet Deborah, take in this same broom, and look well to all thing until I return home. I must to the garden as fast as I can trot, as I was commanded to fetch herbs for the pot. But in the meantime, I pray you, nurse, look about, and see well to the fire, that it not go out. I will amble so fast that I will soon be there, and here again I trow, ere an horse lick his ear.
And Abra exits, leaving Deborah alone.
There is not a prettier girl within this mile than this Abra will be within this little while. As true as any steel, ye may trust her with gold, though it were a bushel and not a penny told. As quick about her work that must be quickly sped, as any wench in 20 mile about her tread. As fine a piece as it is, as I know but a few, yet perchance her husband of her may have a shrew. Cat after kind, saith the proverb, sweet milk will lap. If the mother be a shrew, the daughter cannot scape. One sure mark she hath, I marvel if she slip, for her nose is growing above her over lip. But it is time that I into the tent be gone, lest she come and chide me. She'll come now anon.
And Deborah seems to exit here as Abra comes out again.
How say ye? Have I not dispatched me quickly? A straw for that wench that doth not somewhat lightly. I have brought here good herbs, and of them plenty, to make both broth and farsing, and that full dainty. I trust to make such broth that when all things are in, God Almighty's self may wet his finger within. Here is thyme and parsley, spinach and rosemary, endive, succory, lactua, violet, clary, liverwort, marigold, sorrel, hartstone and sage, pennyroyal, purslane, bugloss and borage, with many very good herbs, more than I do name. But to tarry here thus long, I am much to blame. For if Jacob should come, I not in readiness, I must of covenant be shent of our mistress. And I would not for £20, I tell ye, that any point of default should be found in me.
And I think we'll just pause there, because they're popping in and out like, the sort of whack-a-mole. It's little bits of business, a song with some sweeping. It's like the plot is on hold briefly while they go off and do some hunting and or at least and set up the pick out the appropriate animal and it's interesting that there's so much of this that doesn't seem to be directly connected. It is tangentially connected with the plot, but it's a lot of business. Thoughts?
Well, yeah, I was thinking the child that played Abra must have just been charming and able to sing, and because otherwise there's no way they'd let that person have all this material that's not necessary to the plot, Rebecca tells her to go something. She tells Deborah that she's going to do it at some length. Then Deborah sits there while she does it and just talks about her as a character, which is quite a lovely little speech. And then she comes back and says, she's done it. Like, I guess we have to fill time while Esau is out hunting and Jacob is, I don't know, making stew or something.
Yeah, and that's where the sort of that change, because they're doing herbs and things. So, you know, it's like that's part of the process while they're waiting for the ingredients to arrive, as it were.
I was reminded briefly of like will to like when during the song, for young doth it prick that will be a thorn. I thought this is, you know, this sort of repetition of a proverb that perhaps the audience might be joining in with or something like that. But I was also really struck by Deborah's speech about Abra when Abra's off stage. It's it's sort of strange, really. It's kind of like, and now in the Big Brother house, you know, someone's gone off and someone else is going to talk to the camera about that person. It just seemed kind of really funny.
Another list, another wonderful list too.
Yes, we got that list wordplay, isn't it, coming in there.
That's a lot of herbs for one stew.
Wait, do we know what lacture is? I was thinking milkweed, but only because of the lact in it. But does anyone know what that is?
No, nothing leaps out at me.
No. I think I've heard of all the others, but not that one.
It's also, we got the boasting of Mido as well, doing his little thing about I can carry all sorts of things. Yes, I can carry your sheep for you.
Yes, it's so cute, that speech, isn't it? It's like Mido's moment to shine.
Well, if we think of this as probably performed by, you know, maybe all of them performed by or most of them performed by children, then Mido and Abra do seem to be the youngest of the group, potentially. They are the cute, as it were, aspect.
Yeah, I guess what maybe the purpose that these little scenes serve is to emphasize that this is a family play.
Well, boy, have they taken some edges off the Old Testament here. Any other thoughts before we move forward? Before I feel that the plot may be bearing down on us during this little interlude in the play. Plot may be winging its way towards us any second now. Okay, let's continue further into Act 4 and enter Rebecca and potentially. That's a misplaced stage direction, surely. Okay, that needs to be somewhere else. Yes. So Jacob and Mido will enter anon, but not where it says in the script that you have in front of you. So Rebecca, in your own time.
I come to see if Jacob do not return yet. I cannot marvel enough what should be his let, and greatly wonder he is away thus long. I fear much of his absence, lest something be wrong. As well as heart can wish, all thing is ready here, and now to me each moment seemeth a whole year. But hark, methinketh I hear a young kid bleat. It is so indeed, I see Jacob well as me.
Hark, Master Jacob, heard ye ever kid bleat so? I ween she knoweth aforehand whereto she shall go.
I would not hear my father Isaac should hear. I would not my father Isaac should hear.
Nay, she will scarcely be still when she is dead, I do fear.
But lo, I see my mother stand before the tent.
And here the stage direction says enter Jacob and Mido. I'm actually thinking maybe that's actually right, that they're doing all these lines from off stage, dragging on this noisy kid. That seems like comic business. Yep.
Maybe part of the stage is the tent and part of it is outside.
Yeah. The question about that stage direction, but there's real potential there for a noisy sound effects to be coming with them dragging a rope is how I'm currently seeing that, but I could be wrong. Anyway, enter Jacob and Mido.
Oh Lord, methinketh long, son Jacob, since thou went.
And methinketh, mother, we have hied us well.
I have made many feet to follow, I can tell.
Give me thy kid, my son, and now let me alone. Bring thou in thine, Mido, and see thou be a stone.
A stone? How should that be, mistress? I am a lad, and a boy alive, as good as e'er ye had. And now in bringing home this kid, I have, I trow, tied myself a man and a pretty fellow.
I meant thou shouldst nothing say.
One warning is enough. Ye bade us so last day.
Well, let me go in, and venison hereof make.
And here is thou, Mido. See that good heed thou take in any wise to come in my father's sight.
Why, he seeth no better at noon than at midnight. Is he not blind long since, and doth his eyes lack? Therefore go in, dame, thy bare and heavy pack.
I leave you here, Jacob, and heartily you pray that when need shall require, you not be far away.
I shall be ready, mother, wheresoever you call.
And exit Rebecca, leaving Jacob and Mido on stage.
Oh, how happy is that same daughter or that son, whom the parents love with hearty affection. And among all others, how fortunate am I, whom my mother Rebecca tendereth so greatly. If it lay in her to do any good, ye see, she would do her earnest devoir to prefer me. But as for this matter which she doth now intend, without thy aid, O Lord, how should it come to end? Nevertheless, for as much as my sad mother worketh upon thy word, O Lord, and none other, it shall become to me to show mine obedience, and to thy promise, O Lord, to give due credence. For what is so impossible to man's judgment, which canst not with a beck perform incontinent? Therefore thy will, O Lord, be done for evermore.
Oh, Jacob, I was never so afeard before.
Why, what new thing is chance, Mido, I pray thee?
Old Isaac, your father, heard your young kid bleat. He asked what it was. I said, a kid. Who brought it in from the fold? I said, you did. For what purpose? Forsooth, sir, said I, there is some matter that Jacob would remedy. And where hast thou been so long, little Mido, quoth he, that all this whole hour thou wert not once with me? Forsooth, quoth I, when I went from you last of all, you bade me be no more, but be ready at your call.
But to the kid's bleating he did speak no more.
No, but, and if he had called me afore, I must have told him all, or else I must have made a lie, which would not have been a good boy's part, truly. But I will to him, and no longer here remain, lest he should happen to call for Mido again. And exit Mido, and Jacob is about to be joined by Rebecca and Deborah.
I were best also to get me into the tent, that if my mother need me, I may be present. But I see her come forth, and nurse Deborah also, and bring the gear with them, whatsoe'er it shall do.
Where is my son Jacob? I do him now espy. Come apace, Deborah, I pray thee, let us hie, that all thing were dispatched somewhat to my mind.
It is happy that Jacob ready here you find.
Mother, what have ye brought, and what things are those?
Gear that I have prepared to serve our purpose, and because the Esau is so rough with hair, I have brought sleeves of kid next to thy skin to wear. They be made glove-like, and for each finger a stall, so that thy father's feeling soon beguile they shall. Then have I brought a collar of rough kid's hair, fast unto the skin, round about thy neck to wear. Come, let me do it on, and if Isaac feel, he shall therewith be beguiled wondrous well.
And here she doth the sleeves upon Jacob's arms.
What shall this gear do that he hath brought?
It shall serve anon, I warrant you, take no thought. Now, thoroughly to ravish thy father Isaac, thou shalt here incontinent put upon thy back Esau his best apparel, whose fragrant flavour shall conjure Isaac to bear thee his favour.
Marry, sir, now is Master Jacob trim indeed, that is all tricksy and gallant, so God me speed. Now I see apparel setteth out a man. Doth it become Isaac so? Nay, beshrew me then.
Ye may now go in, nurse, and leave looking on him.
I go. Marry, sir, Jacob is now gay and trim.
Jacob standeth looking on himself. We can assume that Deborah has indeed exited.
No, mother, forsooth this raiment liketh not me. I could with mine own gear better contented be, and but for such sign of your mind and will, I would not wear it, to have it for mine own still. I love not to wear another bird's feathers, mine own poor homely gear will serve for all weathers.
Well, content thyself, and follow my mind this day. Now the meat by this time is ready, I dare say. Before that, with too much enough, it will be all spilt. Take thy time, and assail thy father when thou wilt.
Yea, but have ye provided, mother, I you pray, that nobody within may your counsel bewray?
I warrant the matter all safe from uttering. I have stopped all mouths from once muttering. Therefore, while the time serveth, I thee warn to slack when all things are ready may do harm.
Go before, and I follow, but my cheeks will blush red to be seen among our folks thus apparelled.
And we'll just pause there at the end of that scene. We can assume that Rebecca and Jacob either exit or move just to one side prior to the scene with Isaac that is to come. Lots of lacking detail about who enters when and where. I did get one of the Mido exits wrong. I apologise. Because Mido obviously takes the kid off. I'm assuming that there is a practical prop, kid there, dead or alive. I don't know. Do they kill it off stage just before they bring it on? Because they're complaining about it bleating, and I'm just worrying. Have they got a live thing with the? They can't.
Maybe a puppet.
Yeah, I'm thinking the potential for comic business here around the text is massive. Because obviously I come on and say it was bleating. It wasn't thoroughly dead by stretch of the imagination.
I see Mido was unable to follow Rebecca's instruction to be as a stone.
Mm. Yeah, well, it wasn't my fault. It was the sheep. It made noise. How do I say stuff? It's not my fault, mistress. No. And it's interesting. Deborah's function here is to be sort of dresser, and obviously likes the look of Jacob in his new apparel. I mean, considering how grotesque he potentially should look with his hairy arms and all the rest of it. Any thought? I mean, that again, that scene is a very visual scene with all the dressing up of Jacob. And any thoughts from the room?
I guess they must have a prop. The kid must be a prop or a puppet, because they will need they'll need skins of the same color, presumably, as the kid was. And I guess care would have to be taken to avoid Jacob looking incredibly silly, with like woolly sleeves strapped to his arms and in presumably a fancy gown.
Or not.
Well, of course, visually he doesn't have to look right. I mean, it's the describing an elephant in the dark room sort of exercise, isn't it? You show a little bit.
But to an audience that will presumably see him, like how stupid can he look?
Yeah, exactly. Well, how far can we push the envelope on absurdity? And the play seems to be very light and frothy so far, so I don't see that it wouldn't play all the possibilities in these scenes. Because it is interesting actually that in comparison with some of the business we had yesterday, it's reading much flatter today, or it seems to me to be reading a lot flatter today. But that's, I think, because there's a lot more business going with this text today, and it's not actually the text's fault. It's just the context of what we're doing here. There's more to mine out of this than is at the first sight, I think.
Rebecca's really interesting.
It's as she's very good as, you know, she's this this stage manager quality to everything that she's doing, and she always stops and prays in between things, and she's very useful for getting actors on and off stage, I suppose.
Yes, I was. I'm about to get the duck noise, but I was thinking of.
They just stop. Then just stop. Just back away. Just back away from the thought.
Okay.
It's all right. I really mentioned that earlier too, Lynsey. So don't worry.
I think that's the nature's way of telling us to move on. So we now get to the set piece, shall we say, perhaps, of this play, as the entrance of Isaac, Mido, and in a moment Jacob will re-enter fully disguised. So that should be fun. So enter Isaac, and led by Mido, presumably.
Come, Mido, for without thee I can nothing do.
What is it, sir, that ye would have my help unto?
Nothing but to sit abroad and take the open air.
That shall be well done. The weather is very fair.
Praised be the God of my father Abraham, who sendeth all thing needful for the use of man, and most tenderly provideth he for me, Isaac, better than I can feel or perceive what I lack.
Enter Jacob disguised.
Where is my most dear father? As I would have it, taking the open air, here I see him sit. Oh, my most dear father Isaac, well thou be.
Here I am, my sweet son, and who art thou, tell me?
Dear father, I am Esau, thine eldest son, according as thou badest me, so have I done. Come in, dear father, and eat of my venison, that my soul may give unto me thy benison.
How hast thou sped so soon? Let me understand.
The Lord thy God at the first brought it to my hand.
Oh, and art thou Esau, mine elder son indeed?
To ask that question, father, what doth it need?
Come near, that I may feel whether thou be he or not. For Esau is rough of hair as any goat. Let me feel thy hand. Right, Esau, by the hair, and yet the voice of Jacob soundeth in mine ear. God bless thee, my son, and so will I do anon as soon as I have tasted of thy venison. Come on, lead me in. I will eat a pittance, a little thing, God wot, to me is sufficence.
Oh, I may now go play Jacob leadeth Isaac. But I never saw such a pretty knack, how Jacob beguiled his father, how slightly. Now I see it true, the blind eat many a fly. I quaked once for fear that Jacob would be caught, but as hap was, he had his lesson well taught. But what will Esau say when he cometh home? Choose him, but for me to go in, it is wisdom. And exit Mido, following Isaac and Jacob in, moving into the next scene with Rebecca and Abra.
Now I beseech the Lord, prosper Jacob my son in our hardy enterprise which we have begun. Isaac is eating such meat as he doth love, which thing to bless Jacob I doubt not will him move. If he obtain the blessing, as I trust he shall, and shall my soul give to God Lord perpetual. But I will in to hearken how the thing doth frame.
Come in, Dame Rebecca.
Who is it that doth call me name?
My master Isaac is coming forth straightway.
He shall not find me here in no wise, if I may.
And here we now have a scene with Isaac and Jacob together.
Set me down on the bench where thou didst me first find. Now, forsooth, I've ate meat even to my mind. It hath refreshed my soul wonderfully well, nor ever drank better wine that I can tell.
If it were to your liking, I am very glad.
It was the best meat and wine that ever I had. Come, kiss me, Esau, with the kiss of peace.
And Jacob kisses Isaac and then kneeleth down to have his blessing.
That my love towards thee may the more increase. I bless thee here forever, my son, in this place. The Lord my God of might endue thee with his grace. What sweet flavour my son's raiment doth yield, even the fragrant smell that cometh from a field, which the Lord hath blessed, and the same Lord bless thee with the dew of heaven. The Lord thy ground increase, that the fatness of the earth may never cease. The Lord send thee abundance of corn and wine, and prosper continually all thing that is thine. The Lord make great people servants unto thee, and nations to do homage and fealty, and here to succeed my place, mine heir, I thee make, of all things that I have possession to take. Lord and ruler be thou over thy brethren all, and bow to thee as head thy mother's children shall. Cursed be that man that shall thee curse or missay, and who that blesseth thee, blessed be he for aye. Thus here I have made my last will and testament, which the Lord God ratify, never to repent. Serve the Lord our God, and then well shalt thou speed, and he shall keep promise to multiply thy seed. My day draweth on, for old and feeble I am. When I die, put me to my father Abraham. Now kiss me once again, my son, and then depart, and enter upon all, whereof now, Lord, thou art.
The Lord God reward your fatherly tenderness, which ye have showed me of your mere goodness.
Go in peace, my dear son, leaving me here alone, and send in little Mido to lead me in anon.
And exit Jacob to grab Mido, who will enter in just a moment.
Lord God, when thou shalt see time, as thou thinkest best, dissolve this feeble carcass, and take me to thy rest.
How do ye, Master Isaac? I am here now, for my master Jacob did bid me come to you.
Nay, boy, it was not Jacob, I dare well say so.
Well, forsooth it was Jacob, if my name be Mido.
If that be a true tale, somebody is come slack. But, Lord, that I have done, I will not now call back, but yet I will go see if I be deceived. For indeed methought Jacob's voice I perceived.
And he exits, and then we have Rebecca. She speaketh, kneeling, holding up her hands.
O Lord, the God of Isaac and Abraham, I render thanks to thee, though a sinful woman, because of thy word and promise true art thou, in sending Jacob the blessing of Esau. And for thus regarding a sinner, as I am, I eftsoons thank thee, O Lord God of Abraham. Thy mercy and wisdom shall I sing evermore, and magnify thy name, for gods there is no more. But I will to my husband Isaac, and see that for this matter he take no grief at me.
And presumably there she exits. She may even sing a song. Who knows, because that's the end of the act. Yeah, Mido's not very good at keeping a secret, is he? Whoops. That's it.
It was all fine until that point.
Yeah, it was all running really well. I mean, I'm assuming that Jacob's doing a whole Esau voice thing. Where is my, trying, if they've got distinctly different voices, he's trying to sound older, presumably.
I thought, yeah, because I thought Isaac said something like, I thought that was Jacob's voice then, but no, maybe not.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is if Jacob's trying to do an impression of his brother, but it doesn't have to be very good.
Yeah, brain hadn't thought that one.
Yeah, no. Well, as you are yourself, it's quite difficult to do an impression of another actor being the person. Yeah, so it's it's a nice little set piece. It's it's all gonna kick off. Obviously, Isaac can't take it back because he doesn't take things back. He's that intransigent patriarch figure.
I was wondering whether, I mean, it doesn't say that Rebecca exits, but one, can easily assume that she does. But I also wondered whether she was eavesdropping here, maybe, and kind of, doing that kind of thing with Abra, maybe, that the plot worked.
Yeah, I mean, because we have lots of absences of information as to when people exit and enter, she could just easily have been on stage the whole time, because it's not like Isaac wouldn't have noticed, by the nature of the plot. So she could still just been sat at the back waiting. Yeah.
There is a kind of strange thing to do with providence throughout the play. I think it must be to do with the biblical subject, but they I think earlier on Rebecca did, like yesterday, something similar, but Isaac seems to think, oh well, God's in control anyway, so obviously I'm not going to get too het up about this because God wants it to happen. And so I think it's the patriarch thing, but there's a strange sort of double consciousness here, that they seem to be aware that they're living through sacred history. They're not just kind of discovering it happening to them. On some level, they they can see the picture that we can see, and so they're kind of their reactions to things are a bit different. And I'm sure, I can't remember where, I'm sure this sort of thing has come up before. I think with Rebecca, the idea that God's in charge anyway, and therefore what we actually do kind of doesn't matter, which is, you take that to its logical extension, you end up with people just killing people and stuff like that. But it's something to do with staging scripture, I think. I mean, it reminds me a little bit of some of the mysteries, where people are kind of then and now at the same time.
And especially with the earlier Isaac narrative as well, we do things because we do them. Other thoughts before we move into the final act? It's we've got Esau coming back in a moment. They've gone off hunting, so this I'm sure will all go marvelously well. We've got a series of speeches, essentially one after the other. I don't know if everyone's effectively just missing each other, so it's almost like a circular, never-ending thing. And if we assume that the previous if the action is continuous, then Rebecca's done a speech, and then we've got 3 speeches following on. So it's almost like one of those clocks where the people come out the doors and circle round. But let's see how it flows. So, beginning of Act 5, Scene 1, enter Ragan, bringeth venison at his back.
Nay, now at last we have well sped, I warrant you. Good luck is not evermore against Esau. He coursed and coursed again with his dogs here. They could at no time take either hare or deer. At last he killed this with his bow, as God would. To say that it is fat venison, I be bold. Dressed it must be at once in all the haste, that old Father Isaac may have his repast. Then without delay Esau shall blessed be, then faith, cock on, hoop, all is ours. And who but he? But I must in, that it may be tressed in time likely, and I trow that ye shall see it made ready quickly.
Nay, now, old Master Isaac, I warrant you have blessed Jacob in the place of Esau. At home here with us it is judged no small change, but a case wonderful, or also very strange. The younger brother is made elder, and again the elder must now serve the younger as his swain. And from henceforth we must all make curtsy and bow unto Master Jacob, and not to Esau now. And Esau himself must under Jacob be at his commandment, even as well as we. But I care not, I warrant you, for our household love Jacob better than Esau 20-fold. None loveth Esau but for his father's sake. But all good folks are glad Jacob's part to take. And now by Esau no man will set a pin. Oh, but yonder if he cometh now, I will get me in.
I trow I have now won my spurs forever. For once better venison killed I never. And though it was somewhat long ere I could take, yet the goodness thereof doth some recompense make. My father Isaac shall therefore have such meat as in all his life he hath not the better eat. Whereupon I doubt not, after tender kissing, to be straight endowed with his godly blessing, as his full and true heir in his place to succeed, and to enjoy the promise that God made us to his seed. And when I am once in my place of succession, and have all manner things in full possession, I shall ring all lamps and make them stoop, I trow. I shall make the slaves couch as low as dog and bow. I shall ruffle among them of another sort, that Isaac have done with another port. But now we'll go see what haste within they make, that party of my hunting my old father may take.
And Esau exits, and we have the entrance of Isaac with Mido to follow in a moment.
Mido, come, Mido, where art thou, little Mido?
Oh, here, ready, Master Isaac. What shall I do?
Come lead me to mine old place, that I may sit down.
That can I as well as any boy in this town.
O Lord my God, how deep and unsearchable are all thy judgments, and how immutable. Of thy justice, whom it pleaseth thee thou dost reject, of thy mercy, whom it pleaseth thee thou dost elect. My 2 sons, O Lord, thou hast wrought thy will, and as thy pleasure hath wrought, so shall it stand still. Since thou hast set Jacob in Esau his place, I commit him to the governance of thy grace.
And enter Esau.
Now where is Isaac, that he may come and eat? Lo, where he is sitting abroad upon his seat. Dear Father Isaac, the Lord thy God thee save.
Who art thou, my son? What thing wouldst thou have?
I am your eldest son Esau by my name. You come home from hunting where I had joyly game. I have made meat thereof for your own appetite, meat for your own tooth, wherein you will much delight. Come, eat your part, dear father, that ye have done. Your son may bless me as your heir and eldest son.
Esau, thou comest too late. Another to thy blessing was predestinate, and clean gone it is from thee, Esau.
Alas, then am I the unhappiest that ever was. I would the savage beast have my body torn.
The blessing that thou shouldst have had, another hath.
Alas, what wretched villain have done me such scathe?
Thy brother Jacob came to me by subtlety, and brought me venison, and so prevented thee. I ate with him ere thou camest, and with my good will blessed him I have, and blessed he shall be still.
Ah, Jacob, one may be called so, for he hath undermined me times 2. From first mine heritage he away me throw, and see, now away he hath my blessing also. Ah, father, that Jacob have done this thing, yet let me Esau also have thy blessing. Shall all my good huntings for thee be in vain?
That is done and past, cannot be called again. mine act must now stand in force of necessity.
And hast thou never a blessing then left for me?
Behold, I have made thy brother Jacob thy lord.
Most poignant sword unto my heart is that word.
All his mother's servants, children his servants, have I made.
That word it is to me sharper than a razor's blade.
I have also established him with wine and corn.
Oh, woe be the day and hour that ever I was born.
What am I able to do for thee, my son?
Oh, Jacob, Jacob, that thou hast but me thus undone. Oh, unhappy hap, oh, misfortune, well away, that ever I should live to see this woeful day. But as thou one blessing and no more, my father, let me also have some blessing, good sweet father.
Well, nature pricketh me some remorse on thee to have. Behold, thy dwelling place the earth's fatness shall have, and the dew of heaven which down from above shall fall, and with dint of sword thy living get thou shall, and to thy brother Jacob thou shalt be servant.
Oh, to my younger brother must I be servant. Oh, ever that ever a man should be so oppressed.
Thine own fault it is that thou art dispossessed.
Father, change that piece of thy sentence and judgment.
Things done cannot be undone. Therefore be content. Let me be in quiet and trouble me no more. Come, Mido, in God's name, lead me in at the door.
And exit Isaac and Mido, leaving Esau alone.
Oh, would not this chafe a man and fret his guts out, to live as an underling under such a lout? Hypocrite, hedge creeper, assembling wretch! I will be even with thee for this subtle fetch. O God of Abraham, what reason is it herein that to slay one's enemies it should be made sin? And not one as good as part of heaven forego as not be revenged on his deadly foe. God was angry with Cain for killing Abel. Else might I kill Jacob marvellously well. I may fortune one day him to dispatch and rid. The Lord will not see all things, something may be hid. As for these misers within my father's tent, which to the supplanting of me put their consent, not one but I shall coil them till they stink for pain, and then for their stinking coil them off fresh again. I will take no days, but while the matter is hot, not one of them shall escape, but they shall be put to the pot.
And I don't quite know whether he exits or not, but we definitely have the Ragan on stage.
Where are we now become? Mary, here is a ray. With Esau, my master, this is a black day. I told you Esau one day would shit a rag. Have we not well hunted of this blessing to come lag? Nay, I thought ever it would come to such a pass, since he sold his heritage like a very ass. But if faith, some of them I dare jeopard a groat, if he may reach them, will have on the petticoat.
And Esau, assumingly, has exited and perhaps is saying this as he's coming out, or maybe saying this from off stage as we go into the next scene.
Come out, oars and feeds, come out, I say.
I told you, did I not, that there would be a fray?
Come out, little Orsenate, come out of thy den.
Take my life for a penny, whither shall I ren?
Come out, thou little fiend, come out, thou skittish gill.
Out, alas, Esau will us all kill.
And come out, thou mother mab, or out, old rotten witch, as white as midnight arsehole or virgin pitch. Where be ye, come together in a cluster?
If faith, then these three will make a noble muster.
There ye escape my fingers, ye shall all be taught, for these be they which have all this against me wrought.
I wrought not a stroke this day, but let Isaac, if I wrought one stroke today, lay me on the jack.
Hence then, get thee in and do against me no more.
I care as much for you now as I did before.
What sayest thou, little thief, if I may thee catch?
Ye shall run apace then, I ween, so God me snatch.
Now to go, Mido, ere thou art caught in a trip.
And exit Mido.
Nay, for his sake, Abra, ye shall drink of the whip.
Nay, for God's love, sweet master Esau, hurt not me for Mido. Speak for me, Ragan.
Sir, spare little Abra. She hath done none evil.
A little fiend it is, and would be a right devil, and she is one of them that love not me a deal.
If ye let me go, I will love you very well.
And never any more ado against me, mate.
Ragan shall be surety.
Sir, I undertake.
Then hence out of my sight at once and get thee in.
Adieu, I set not a straw by you, nor a pin.
What sayest thou, little fib? Once he shall have a rap.
The best end of suretyship is to get a clap.
Oh, no, come on then now, old hag. What shall I say to thee?
Say what ye list, so ye do not touch me.
Yeah, make powder of thee, for I dare say thou hast been the cause of all this feast at Esau.
No, it was Jacob's feast that I did help to dress.
Nay, I thought such a witch would do such a business.
But by my troth, if I should die incontinent, I knew not of the purpose wherefore it was meant.
But wilt thou tell me truth if I do forgive thee?
Yea, if I can, Master Esau, believe me.
Is it true that when I and my brother were first born, I, by God's ordinance, came forth in before, Jacob came forthwith, holding me fast by the heel?
It is true. I was there and saw it very well.
Is it true? Oh, Jacob, I pray God I be dead, but for my heel's sake I will have thee by the head. The devil was in me that had not the grace, with kicking back my heel, to mar his mopish face. But my father Isaac will not long live now. If he were gone, Jacob and I would soon meet with you. For my soul hateth Jacob even to the death, and I will ne'er but hate him while I shall have breath. I may well dissemble until I see a day, but trust me, Jacob, I will pay thee when I may. But if ever I hear that thou speak a word of this, I shall cut out thy tongue, I will not miss.
And he said those last two lines to Deborah there as threat.
But come on, Ragan, with me, so mote I thrive, I will get a good sword, for thereby must I live.
Live, quoth you. We are like to live, God knoweth how.
What, ye saucy merchant, are ye a prater now?
And exit Esau and Ragan. Deborah is alone on stage.
I am glad that Esau is now gone, certes, for an evil-disposed man he is doubtless. Yet am I no gladder of his departure hence than I am that Rebecca is come in presence.
Indeed, enter Rebecca.
Deborah, what dost thou tarrying here so long? I come full ill afeard lest something had been wrong, for Mido and Abra told me of Esau.
Indeed, here he was and departed hence but now. And one thing I tell you, dame, let Jacob beware, for Esau to mischief Jacob doth prepare.
Call Jacob hither, that I may show him my mind. Send him hither quickly, and tarry ye behind, that he give place a while, it is expedient. And how ye may be sure, I will the way invent.
And we'll just pause there before Jacob comes on. It's quite a swift sending and before he appears. But I think we should just go back. There's a real sort of in-out, shake it all about quality to this. People are really popping in and out like there's no business. I mean, Isaac does sort of come out and go, I'm going to sit at my favourite bench now. But you know, it's that there's definitely no backseas, as he very patiently explains to Esau. We've got those two wonderful lines,
which I marred, I think, slightly. But yeah.
As white as midnight's arsehole, I think is
That's it. I mean, I'm not ever going to say white as snow or white as milk anymore. One way to compare what.
Oh dear.
Yeah, the Purcell's not getting that out. Right.
Just one quick thing that I wanted to flag up that's not about asses. We can go back to butts later, but the rhyme of Esau and now. So I guess it's pronounced Esau rather than Esau.
Well, we had an Esau as well
Ah.
yesterday at one point. I've been noting it. It doesn't seem Esau, South, that sort of area. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, an OP person, OP tends to sort of West Countryize and make it an O, just all so and now and anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I've been dancing around every so often. We're pretending to go for Esau, but then every so often it shifts to something else. So I think that's one to make a firm decision in production and stick with.
I liked the "I'm going to hit you or do something to you. No, actually, I'll forgive you. Now get out of my sight" from Esau in that scene.
Yes, and after "get out of my sight," it's a "thanks, I hate you."
Yeah. Yes, he's
Darken my doors.
Yeah, he's exited in a huff and gone in. Well, Ragan has come out, and then everybody's forced out by his unhappiness. You sort of see props flying about and being flung through doors.
My hope for a bloodbath was abated at that point. So, all right.
No, I think it's going to stick with the comedy. I think it's going to definitely stick with the comedy. Any additional thoughts before we move into the sort of the final moments of it all, as it were, as Jacob and Rebecca are about to sort of tidy everything up? I imagine. I assuming that. I mean, it could end in a bloodbath. Who knows? Maybe they went radical. Okay, so Deborah, who doesn't seem to have had a gap to actually properly exit, has managed to get Jacob on stage. So we continue with Jacob and Rebecca.
Mother Rebecca, did he send for me hither?
Yea, and the cause is this: thou must go some whither to hide thee from my brother Esau apace.
Indeed, to men's malice we must sometimes give great place.
He lieth in wait to slee thee if he can. Thou shalt therefore by my rede flay hence to Haran, and lie with my brother Laban, a man aged, till Esau's wrath be somewhat assuaged. When all things are forgotten and his fury past, I shall send for thee again in all goodly haste.
Yea, but how will my father herewith be content?
Thou shalt see me win him thereto incontinent. And here he cometh happily. Jacob, hear me. Make a sign to Mido that he do not name thee. Then get thee in privily till I do call thee.
As ye command me, Mother Rebecca, I shall.
And here enter Isaac and Mido et al.
Where be ye, good wife?
My dame Rebecca is here.
I am glad, sweet husband, that I see you appear, for I have a word or two unto you to say.
Whatsoever it be, tell it me, I you pray.
Sir, ye know that now our life days are but short, and we had never so great need of comfort. Now Esau his wives, being Hittites both, ye know, to please us are much unwilling, and both. That if Jacob eke would take any Hittite to wife, small joy we should both have, or comfort of our life.
Wife, ye speak this well. I will provide, therefore. Call Jacob quickly, that he appear me before.
I can run a pace for him if you bid me go.
Go, hie thee at once then like a good son, Mido.
And exit Mido, but returns directly with Jacob.
O Lord, save thou my son from miscarrying.
Come, Master Jacob, ye must make no tarrying, for I it is that shall be sent if you be slack. Here is your son Jacob now, Master Isaac.
Son Jacob, make thee ready as fast as thou can, and in all haste possible get thee unto Laban. He is thine uncle, and a right goodly man. Marry of his daughters, and not of Canaan. In Mesopotamia shalt thou lead thy life. The Lord prosper thee here without debate or strife, and the God of Abraham prosper thee in peace. He multiply thy seed and make it to increase. Now kiss me dear son Jacob, and so go thy way.
Kiss me also, sweet son, and hence without delay.
Now, most tender parents, as well with heart and word, I bid you well to fare and leave you to the Lord.
Nay, Master Jacob, let me have an hand also.
Even with all my heart, farewell, little Mido.
And exit Jacob. Oh.
Now I will depart hence into the tent again.
As pleaseth God and you, but I will here remain.
And here enters Esau and with his servant Ragan and various others. Possibly. Yes, no, everybody else is stopped from exiting, I think.
Is he gone indeed to mine uncle Laban in Mesopotamia at the town of Haran? And is Jacob gone to the house of Bethuel? The whirlwind with him and fringing fiend of hell. Well, I shall meet with him one day, well enough. And who is this? My mother, whom I see here now.
She stood here all this while, sir, did you not her see?
Didst thou see her stand here and wouldst not warn me?
Son Esau, for God thou art much to blame, as to do, as I hear of thee, is a foul shame.
Mother, what is it ye have heard of me of late?
That thou dost thy brother Jacob deadly hate.
Hate Jacob? I hate him and will do till I die, for he hath done me great wrong and villainy, and that he shall well know if the Lord give me life.
Fie upon thee to speak so, like a lewd caitiff.
My master Esau is of nature much hot, but he will be better than he saith, fear not.
My birthright to sell, did he not make me consent?
But the same to do, wert not thyself content? There is no man to blame for it but thine own self.
Yea, mother, I see that ye hold with that mopish elf. 'Tis your dainty darling, your prink box, your goldpole. You can never be praised enough of your soul. You must never be extolled above the moon. 'Tis never amiss that he have said or done. Would he were rocked or dandied in your lap? Or I would with this falchion that I might give pap. I marvel why ye should so love him and me not. Ye groaned as well for the one as the other, I wot. But Jacob must be advanced in any wise, but I shall one day handle him of the new guise.
Both on thy father's blessing and mine, I charge thee that thy soul intend never such iniquity. Beware by the example of Cain, I thee rede, that thou bring not the Lord's curse upon thy head.
And what should I take all this wrong at Jacob's hand?
Forgive, and the Lord shall prosper thee in the land. My son Esau, hear me. I am thy mother. For my sake, let pass this grudge against thy brother.
Sir, your mother's request is but reasonable, which for you to grant shall be much commendable.
Mother, though it be a great thing that ye require, yet must all malice pass at your desire, and for your cause, mother, this mine anger shall slake.
I thank thee, my son, that thou dost it for my sake.
For your sake with Jacob I will be at accord.
And shall I call thy father to be as record?
As pleaseth you, mother, I can be well content.
Then will I go call him hither incontinent, and where he doth already love thee very well, this will make him to love thee better a great deal.
Truly, sir, this is of you a right gentle part, at least if it come from the bottom of your heart.
It must now be thus, and when I shall Jacob find, I shall then do as God shall put into my mind.
And here enter Isaac and Mido with Rebecca again.
He hath at my word remitted all his quarrel.
Forsooth, love him the better a great deal, and if he be here I would commend his doing.
All pressed here, father, to tarry on your coming.
Son Esau, thou hast thyself well acquitted, that all quarrel to Jacob thou hast remitted. It was the Lord's pleasure that it should thus be, against whose ordinance to stand is not for thee. But now, to the intent it may please the Lord to knit your hearts one day in a perfect concord, we shall first in a song give Lord unto his name, and then with all gladness within confirm the same.
As you think best, dear husband, I agree thereto.
Ye may command to what ye will have me to do, and so may ye do also, Ragan, my man.
I see none, but praise we the Lord the best we can. Call forth all our household, that with one accord we may all with one voice sing unto the Lord.
And we have a slightly confusing stage direction in terms of placement. So Ragan calleth all to sing. This song must be sung after the prayer. So I'm assuming the prayer is what the text is next, which I'm assuming is Isaac's text. But it's the precise way that all works, I'm not quite sure. So Isaac will ask you to read the next text.
O Lord, the God of our father Abraham, how deep and unsearchable are thy judgments. Thy almighty hand did create and frame both heaven and earth and all the elements. Man of the earth thou hast formed and create. Some do they worship and some stray awry. Whom pleaseth thee thou dost choose or reprobate, and no flesh can ask thee wherefore or why. Of thine own will thou didst Abraham elect, promising seed as stars of the sky, and them as thy chosen people to protect, that they may thy mercies praise and magnify. Perform thou, O Lord, thine eternal decree to me and my seed, the sons of Abraham, and whom thou hast chosen thine own people to be, guide and defend to the glory of thy name.
And then entereth the poet, and very importantly, the rest shall stand till he have done.
When Adam, for breaking God's commandment, had sentence of death and all his posterity, yet the Lord our God, who is omnipotent, had in his own self, by his eternal decree, appointed to restore man and to make him free. He purposed to save mankind by his mercy, whom he once had created unto his glory. Yet not all flesh did he then predestinate, but only the adopted children of promise. For he foreknew that many would degenerate and willfully give cause to be put from that bliss. So on God's behalf no manner default there is, but where he chooseth, he showeth his great mercy. And where he refuseth, he doth none injury. But thus far surmounteth man's intellection to attain or conceive, and much more to discuss. All must be referred to God's election and to his sacred judgment. It is meet for us with Paul the Apostle to confess and say thus, "Oh, the deepness of the riches of God's wisdom! How unsearchable are his ways to man's reason! Our part, therefore, is first to believe God's word, not doubting, but that he will his elected save. Then to put full trust in the goodness of the Lord, that we be of the number which shall mercy have. Thirdly, so to live as we may his promise crave. Thus if we do, we shall Abraham's children be, and come with Jacob to endless felicity."
All the rest of the actors answer.
Amen.
Then followeth the prayer.
Now unto God let us pray for all the whole clergy, to give them grace to advance God's honour and glory.
Then for the Queen's Majesty let us pray unto God to keep her in health and wealth night and day, and that of his mere mercy and great benignity he will defend and maintain her estate and dignity, that she, being grieved with any outward hostility, may against her enemies always have victory.
God save the Queen's counsellors most noble and true, and with all godliness their noble hearts endue. Lord, save the nobility and preserve them all, and prosper the Queen's subjects universal. Amen.
Amen again. So yeah, there's a bit of a question there as to which prayer and what is prayer, and is the text, "O Lord, the God of our father Abraham," is that? It doesn't look like a song, and that looks like another prayer, but I'm not sure. Liza, thoughts on that?
Well, it's very possible that it refers to a song that's not in the text. And indeed, maybe the playwright didn't have a specific song in mind. Maybe it was just like whatever hymn you feel like inserting here. Or equally, the song might have been written out on a separate page that wasn't bound in, and it may have got lost. Music, I know, had to be typeset differently from pure text. So, but I don't think the text that we have is the text of a song. I think the song is separate, whatever it may be.
That's what I thought. It seems we have a preponderance of endings here. It's positive the return of the king. You know, we might have a song, then a prayer, then an epilogue, then another prayer, and then maybe another song. You know, it's there's a lot of it.
It's interesting because I know we had the discussion of how many of these endings there were about the Queen and praying for counsellors and so on. I can't remember which play it was we were looking at last where it was discussed, but it's interesting to see it again. It feels completely out of place to me in some ways.
It is very much, and now we will pray for the Queen. You know, it's the national anthem plays and everybody stands. They've stepped out of the play for that, and that seems quite clearly demarcated. I don't know how similar it is. We've had quite a few of these. We should actually do a little side-by-side comparison at some point. I'm sure someone already has somewhere. And if we assume that it's Queen Mary, then that works very well. But of course, that might be added later. I don't know.
There is a lot of talk about the elected ones, isn't there? In speech.
Because what they're doing is extremely contrary to English law. They're disinheriting a firstborn son. And so they have to emphasize that it was God that chose this. God didn't choose Esau, he chose Jacob. And we shouldn't be unhappy with that. And Esau did the right thing by submitting to that choice.
And Jacob made the right decision of running away.
Well, he's going to get married. That's presumably the next play. Yeah.
Well, I say in the Townley Mysteries collection, perhaps a better way of saying, there are fragments of 3 plays. There is an Isaac, and a Jacob, and there is a sequence that covers much of this, but it's fragmentary, so we don't have the whole thing. So we sort of get a beginning of a play and the end of one, and it's slightly unsatisfactory. But we do get the same narrative played out, and that might be an interesting comparison, even with the fragmentary text. With this, might be a effective thing. Now that we've reached the end, thoughts about the play overall. It does feel to some degree a play of 2 halves. There's the second half is full of potential comic business, but it doesn't profess itself in quite so openly a comic way as the first half was. It's like the plot arrived in a much more forceful sense. But that you could disagree with me, though. I'm just thinking aloud.
Well, it's not just the plot, is it? It's the sacred matter. That's part of the issue, I think. I mean, but there is still a real commitment to having this sort of clever servant, stupid master thing right through the end. Which considering the territory we're finally on, I think they kept it as light as you could. By having all these different servants and this kind of, this slightly sinister at first, but this trickster mother who kind of sorts everything, you know, and when it seems like she's disinheriting one of her sons for the other one, we think, uh-oh, you know, Gorbaduck or something like that, you know. But she turns into a kind of, you know, another one of these kind of know-it-all figures who keep things light, you know. So I completely agree with you. I think it has to get a bit more real. But that said, you know, I think the key idea is to just make it into a sort of, you know, wartime comedy with lots of kind of servants, and I think that works.
Yeah. And as I say, I think we've identified the areas where there's huge potential in terms of business to play with those scenes, and then that gives you know the producer room for maneuver to decide how broad or narrow they want their comic focus to be, and how much you want to then focus on plot. And you know, because the audience presumably would also want plot. You know, you want a satisfactory conclusion. As well as cheap laughs, and you know it does deliver them. I think a plenty.
You could imagine a commedia take on it, you know, with all these different physicalities. That might be one way.
Greg, the sort of general thoughts about the play. We're crashing into extra time any second now. Any thoughts between?
I really enjoyed it. Yes, on the face of it, there isn't that anything like the great conversation about the dinner from the first half. But go back and watch it if you haven't seen it. But yeah, it's a slightly more subtle sense in the second half, but great fun to play. And I actually thought what was really interesting for me anyway was that actually the two brothers aren't the main characters. I didn't feel. There were times when I really felt like the rest, you know, that it's really about everyone else in the camp almost, but in a good way.
Yeah, there is slightly more of an ensemble feel to the second half. Everybody's coming on, doing their turn, and coming off again, and we get these additional, you know, random servant characters who are doing keeping the wheels of the machine oiled and keeping everything turning over. You know, and Isaac gets a bit more. He didn't do that much in the first half, did he? He was sort of. Did he do? Did he do? He had his debate with Rebecca, didn't he? Yes, he did. He gets to sit there and be wise. Perhaps. Lynsey, having come in halfway through, how are you feeling it?
Yes, I mean, I was just, I was scrolling back to see if I could find the bit when Rebecca says, I think, to Deborah, you know, stop looking at him.
Yeah.
That's possibly one indication of something that maybe runs, you know, throughout, basically. But I don't know. That really tickled me.
It's a beautiful youth, which
my son.
Yeah. Eyes down.
Eyes up again.
Yeah. Liza, any general overthoughts that you might have yourself? Also, you know, thinking about how we might deal with this today. I mean, I don't think there's much about this text where I'm going, you know, that there isn't, you know, reasonable modern revival potential.
We don't know, do we? What this was written for? Like, which we don't know whether it was what company performed it or what context.
It is presumed by various people that it's probably performed in court, probably for Mary. It might have been written by Nicholas Udall, but he might have written every play from about that 10-year period. Actually, having read it, I'm actually coming off the fence on that. I think there's a good case with a few bits of it. So, and it fits within a range of plays that from Mary's time that are of this sort of light sense. So, but what it's surrounding then performance history, I wouldn't even hazard a guess.
I wonder though if Mary. I wonder whether it was performed before Mary herself or before some other noble family, because would you really put a play in front of Queen Mary about an oldest sibling being disinherited?
This was something I was wondering about as well. You know, the sort of the tone and you know, whether they're trying to draw parallels and all the talk about the elect and that kind of thing. It just made me question that, but I don't know. I've got no idea about the play's history. So.
Well, that's one of the weird things about court drama when you are pitching it for heads of household, is that actually you have a certain amount of license to sideways throw in slightly contentious thoughts like that. It's when you present it to other people that it's a problem.
It certainly makes me think. I mean, it makes me think of these masks like Comus, like Milton's Comus, that were written to be performed by a noble family to show off the accomplishments of their children or their relatives, sometimes even a servant. Because, you know, this is for a smallish company that includes 2 kids. And I wonder if it might not have been written for amateur dramatics among noble or gentry families.
Well, the thing is, they've got access to 2 children at court, so there is that possibility that it's got that school vibe to it, quite a lot of it. I say, if it is connected with Udall, then you know, explicitly he's got children available to be beaten or groomed at will, it's true. But that's another story.
But this is such a family play. It expands so much from the 2 protagonists to take in the whole family group. And I don't know, it would be kind of pleasing if it were written to be performed by a family. Anyway, I've talked a lot. I think I'm done.
But I mean, genuinely, we don't know. And the weird thing is, I also about the hinterland of these things after they get printed. Obviously, this doesn't get printed till much later. It's another one of those. Once Elizabeth's on the throne, suddenly everyone digs out old manuscripts of things that have been, you know, 10, 20 years out of date. But, you know, there were companies that would presumably might do something with this in their repertoire, and it might have a performance life outside of its original possible performance.
One of the interesting things about, I don't know if anyone's seen any of the Edwards Boys productions. That's basically a boys' company run out of the grammar school in Stratford, and so they kind of do school play versions, but they're very canny with the casting in terms of which roles they put the 10-year-olds in, and and they really do that very, very nicely for precisely the effect that you're talking about there. I think you imagining a kind of cute 10-year-old. Just delivering those lines, you're thinking, this is just brilliant, So I can see that working really, really well.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus, of course, some dogs. You need some dogs.
And cats, don't forget.
I don't think the cat, to be fair, is ever seen. He just could eat a cat. It doesn't.
It's Lieutenant Savinish Moore on everything else that I could think of last night, but yes.
Okay, we're well into extra time now. Any final thoughts about this play? You want to just throw in at the end?
Can I just say I'm really pleased that Esau stayed exactly the same. He was just this stupid country squire, and while everyone else kind of went all Stepford, he was still kind of kicking off right to the end. I thought that was great. He didn't calm down and think, oh, it's God's implacable will. He was still offering people out and had to be managed. And I thought that was a really nice touch at the end there.
Excellent. Right. Well, it's got the thumbs up from the room over the last 2 days. We're really very fond of it. I think it will do incredibly well with a live audience, as well as whatever we might do with it for podcasting purposes. All that remains for me to do is thank the team for reading this today, and goodbye.
Bye.